Hello and welcome to Newsbreak at 7. I'm Veer Raghav. The top southern focus to start with this evening. While it's flooding in the Himalayas, a deficit monsoon in the Kaveri catchment areas has led to concerns and shortage of water in the river in both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Farmer groups in Mandya staged a protest today opposing the release of water to Tamil Nadu, as they have been doing in the last few days. Citing a distress year, Karnataka had released only 15 TMC feet of water as opposed to the 58 TMC feet of water that it was supposed to release till the 10th of August to Tamil Nadu, where the standing Cauvery crop in the delta regions depend on the Kaveri water released from Karnataka. Tamil Nadu moved the Supreme Court demanding the release of 24,000 cusecs of water. Meanwhile, Karnataka later started releasing water from the 14th of August and announced that it will release 10 TMC feet of water, leading to further protests by some farmer groups in Mandya and near the KRS reservoir. At the moment, the water level at the KRS dam is at 31.7 feet as opposed to the total capacity of 49 feet. There has been a 30% deficiency in rainfall in the Kaveri catchment areas, according to Karnataka. Well, joining us now is Sam Daniel from Tamil Nadu to give us an overview of the situation in Tamil Nadu and the concerns that are there for both the state government and the farmers in the Delta districts. And earlier in the day, I spoke to Melkote MLA and noted farmers leader in Karnataka, Darshan Puttanaya, who was at the farmers' protest. I began by asking him, sir, this is a distress year. Tamil Nadu has not got its share of water. KRS has close to 32 TMC feet as opposed to the full capacity of 49.4 TMC feet. Given that Karnataka has to release some water to Tamil Nadu, are these protests that we are noticing now, that you are part of right now, more about political optics than actual farmer concerns?
This is definitely for the issues that the farmers have. That's our first intent, and there's no politics involved whatsoever in this whole protest. The first part of your question was, what is this protest about? The protest is about, we have currently a 23.38 TMC available in the dam. That's the water that's available. That's less than half the capacity of the dam. So our demands are, we need water for the standing crops here, plus the drinking water. So we have to plan for that before we start giving water to Tamil Nadu. We are not against giving water to Tamil Nadu. Rather, we just have to be cognizant of the fact what our farmers are going through and how much water this region. And we are not saying, just give us exorbitant amounts of water. All we are trying to say is there are farmers who have already planted these crops, and they need water to make sure these crops are sustained in the next couple of months. So we need water for the standing crops. To simplify it, two things. So water for the standing crops, make sure we have enough drinking water in this region. That's it. So these are the two main reasons why we are here protesting.
Right, those are real concerns, and one that have been discussed several times. The question is, sometimes emotion and politics tend to dominate this. Is it possible to arrive at a decision on this without emotion, without politics, and keeping only farmers in mind?
I think so. I think we should actually sit across the table with those two states and bring in some experts. Understands I think we just have to start looking at, instead of to answer your question directly, yes, I think it is possible. We just have to sit across the table from each other and talk through this. Then the other thing that we ought to do is, we have to look at the weather pattern data. I think we can assume that, whether it is the probability might be 80% or 90%, but if we can look at the historical weather pattern data, we can definitely say that this year there is going to be, or next year there's going to be drought, or there's going to be a shortage of water. Let us actually pre-plan rather than be in the season and then trying to figure out how much water needs to be released and things like that. Right?
Well, yes, one needs to look at a long-term study of all these factors. But what's your message, sir? You're a farmer yourself. You've been part of the Kaveri family. What's your message to the farmers in Tamil Nadu? They're desperate for water as well for the standing Kuruvai crop.
I think the simple message is you all are our brothers and sisters. We really, look out for you. We are not against you. We are with you. Let us actually sit together and come up with a solution that works for both of us. Instead of we live in the same country. We drink and eat and figure out the livelihood just based on the water that's actually coming through here. We just drink the same water. So we just want to be mindful about what is going on this side of the fence, and also we want to be mindful of what's going on that side of the fence. Yeah. Let's sit together and come up with a solution. That's my message, and we are not against them. We are with them.
Well, that's Darshan Putaneya. He spoke to him earlier in the day while he was at that protest site. Sam Daniel, give us an overview of the situation in Tamil Nadu. Obviously, some water has begun being released. What's the impact that it's there? And tell us in terms of the situation as far as the Delta districts is concerned.
Very Raghav, the ground reality is that 3.5 lakh acres of short-term or the Kuruvai paddy crop awaits water. The storage at the Metu reservoir would be sufficient only for 10 days, and if waters don't come from Karnataka within this time, then lakhs of farmers are overlooking a huge loss of crop and their livelihood in the Delta region. The ground reality is that the Tamil Nadu government has now moved the Supreme Court asking for a direction to Karnataka to release 24,000 cusecs of water, or at least 36 TMC, which the state ought to be given according to the Kaveri verdict later upheld by the Supreme Court with some minor changes. The ground reality is that Karnataka has waters in its dam. Whenever there is adequate rainfall, there's no problem. They fill up all their dams, release water which they cannot store, literally treating, many would say, Tamil Nadu as a drainage. But there is a crisis when there is inadequate rainfall as we face now. And Karnataka has enough waters. And according to the Kaveri Water Tribunal order, which later
we're sorry, we seem to have lost Sam Daniel. He was making the point in terms of Tamil Nadu's case, where Tamil Nadu has moved the Supreme Court demanding its share of water. Obviously, it's a distress here as far as Karnataka is concerned. Remember, up to about 30% water deficiency, rainfall deficiency in the catchment areas. And of course, as Sam was pointing out importantly, Tamil Nadu also desperately in that situation. So perhaps a need for both sides to have a communication between the two governments, which is possibly on as well. We'll keep monitoring that situation. It's not yet perhaps down to a situation where there are open statements between the two states, but we'll have to keep watching out on that situation, both in Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu. We'll get Sam Daniel to give us further details as and when possible. That's it. We'll move forward now from the water crisis in Karnataka to a move that could help water crisis in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, to a move that could help curb on fraudulent calls and cybercrime. The central government has banned the option of bulk SIM card connections and has also brought in stricter monitoring of SIM card dealers, including a mandatory police verification. Union Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav also said that the government has deactivated over 52 lakh fraudulent connections and has blacklisted over 67,000 SIM card dealers. Further, in a move that will certainly contain the menace of SIM card companies that buy bulk SIM cards, even if it's bought in bulk, will have to register a KYC for each of the SIM card. Essentially, every mobile number will have to have a person responsible for it or linked to it, and companies can't generate numbers at random. So what impact will this have? The key aspects. Joining us this evening, Virag Gupta, an advocate who specializes in cyber law, Anil Kumar, editor-in-chief of Telecom Live. First to you, Mr. Kumar, give us a sense of what you're understanding about these new measures and the impact that it will have.
The government is trying to make cap. Now the cap is a person cannot get more than 9 SIM in his name. They have reduced the number from 9 to 4. It is not going to make any difference. The government is trying to mix the two issues. One is spam calls, another is financial frauds. Financial frauds cannot be controlled by just reducing the numbers. So with the cap of 9, still person could get 10,000 numbers of SIM just by reducing it, and government says it can control the fraud. It is not possible. The operators have suggested to the government to give a special number for financial institutions. For example, SBI 555-001, ICICI Bank 555-002. These numbers are there. Even if their agents are calling, they will first call to SBI server. SBI server will keep all the record who is calling to whom. He is responsible. SBI server will be responsible towards its customers or any financial frauds. So the entire data will be stored in their servers. Who is calling whom? So if a person is getting some call from some other number other than this series 555 series, then he will not disclose OTP or any other details. So this will be a protection to consumers. One is this. Another one is about the spam calls. Spam, the moment this issue is addressed, spam calls can be easily addressed by the operators by adopting to artificial intelligence and filtering methods. Artificial intelligence, operator can detect, yes, from one number, how many calls are being generated, in per day or per basis. They can just identify as he's making marketing calls without even registering with the operator. So those things can be handled, but two things cannot be mixed together. The present arrangement, what the government has introduced today, is not going to make much difference.
Okay, that's an important point that you make, Mr. Virag. What does it mean for me as a consumer? I mean, in that sense that one of the big problems that one of us face is different numbers being used to call us repeatedly for a particular telemarketing job. I'm taking that first aspect, and the other is the use of telephones and calls to make fraudulent transactions. How are these going to curb the two? What impact do you think it will have?
And this is a right step towards a resolution of whole problem, but still there are many gaps are there, as told by Mr. Anil Kumar. Now we have to understand the whole problem. For last 15 years, TRAI is attempting to curb this menace of mobile SIM card misuses, because ultimately all the cyber frauds, social media frauds, financial frauds, loan app frauds, terrorism activities are happening due to integration of telecom operators and internet service providers. Now government has rightly taken this step, but there are three aspects. One aspect is legal system. For that legal system, government has passed this data protection law. Two more laws are to be passed. One is telecom and other is Digital India. Second is regulator. In India, there is no such regulator. That's why there is no reporting of these cyber frauds, which is happening because of these bogus connections. Now, I will give you an example. We have consolidated data of 2 years given by these tech companies. As per that data, Facebook in the last 2 years has blocked some 54 crore objectionable posts. WhatsApp has blocked some 6.2 crore accounts. Instagram 8.5 crore posts, and Twitter 59 lakhs. These accounts are suspended. Now these data are not reflected in the FIRs, in the NCRB data, in the RBI report, in the Home Ministry data. So India has become the biggest mandi of cyber crimes, and the basis of that cyber crimes is these type of mobile connections, and government has taken the right step. But for to curb this menace in a substantial level, government must take a step to make accountable these telecom service provider TSPs.
Okay, you're saying that there needs to be much more that needs to be done. Mr. Kumar, I want to specifically focus on two aspects. One, what does this mean for telecos? not just for telemarketing companies, I'm talking in general for telecos. The second, as you pointed out earlier, about the crackdown on those selling SIM cards and getting greater verification of it. And the third aspect is the KYC for even those companies which buy bulk SIM cards. How do we understand that? A KYC for each SIM card needs to be linked to it. Will this have a sustainable impact or a clear impact as far as misuse is concerned?
Misuse, the moment we disconnect the linkage between financial fraud and spam calls, the moment we address that issue, I think the solution can be found. The government actually is mixing the two issues very much. So spam calls, through controlling spam calls, wants to control financial frauds. It's not, it's a reverse.
Okay.
First, you control the financial frauds.
All right.
The moment you address that issue, by how you will control that financial frauds is by allocating a special number, special code to all the banking institutions. The moment you do that, then through artificial intelligence and filtering method, this can be, the other issue, spam, can be addressed to the extent of 90%. So KYC today, also with the limit of 9, you are able to obtain 10,000 cards. How you are able to do it, that you will continue. There's going to be not much of difference in this.
Okay, it's an important issue that you point out. You need to delink the prank calls and the spams that are coming out with cyber crimes and cyber frauds. One needs to not mix the two together. Final word from you, Mr. Virag. In terms, you've already pointed out what needs to be done next. In terms of this step and in terms of delinking, where do you think the problem is? Is there a lack of understanding of the issue, or is there perhaps no solution by which they can delink the two?
The government has broadly taken the two steps. First is KYC and police verification of the bulk sellers of these mobile SIM cards. Now, this is not going to be helpful because ultimately these SIM card dealers were working as per the mandate given by the telecom companies. So all the details were there with the telecom companies. Okay. So instead of asking for police verification, government should make telecom companies accountable. Second is blacklisting these dealers. Now, blacklisting of dealers will not work because most of them are the proprietorship firms. So they will change the name. So instead of making these type of, because ultimately government has passed the Jan Vishwas bill. So in each case, bringing police, I think, will increase the corruption and increase the procedures. So government should make telecom companies accountable for all the acts done by their dealers. Then I think in the broadly, there will be some control on these frauds and duplicate numbers, bogus numbers.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Virag Gupta, as well as Mr. Anil Kumar, for sharing your thoughts on it. We'll have to keep a close watch on how that develops. It's obviously a nuisance and a headache for a lot of us, a concern for a lot of us, both in terms of cybercrime as well as spam messages. Meanwhile, if your Android phone suddenly starts blaring, don't worry. It could be a new system to send out national alerts. Priyanshi Sharma joins us now. Priyanshi, this created quite a lot of buzz in the NDTV office this afternoon.
Absolutely, Veer Raghav. Not just in the NDTV office, but across the country, several people received a loud beep and an alert on their phones this afternoon. But we can tell you that if you got an emergency alert on your phone, there's nothing to worry about. We'll tell you why. So first things first, what was this alert? Well, many Android users across the country received an alert with the title Emergency Alert Severe. This alert was to test the government's emergency alert system that can be used to alert people in times of natural disasters. There was a loud beep also along with the message. So let's listen to that beep first, and that gives you a sense of how this message created some alarm in for several Android phone users. So that's the beep. Along with that, this is the message that was flashed. So let's read out that message. That tells you how this was nothing to worry about, but just a sample, just a test that the government was carrying out. The message reads that this is a sample testing message sent through the cell broadcasting system by the Department of Communication, Government of India. It says that please ignore this message as no action is required from your end, and this message has been sent to test pan-India emergency alert system being implemented by the National Disaster Management Authority. Now, this aims to enhance public safety and provide timely alerts during emergencies. That's what the message reads, as you can say. So through this message, the government essentially tested its cell broadcast system that can be used for emergencies. Now, how can it be used? So when there's a flood or an earthquake, let's say, the government can immediately send alerts across the country to our phones directly through this system. So we can get instant alerts in times of natural disasters through this system, and that very system was tested today. Now, the government is working with the National Disaster Management Authority to be better prepared for disasters such as earthquakes, tsunamis and flash floods, to give people real-time updates and real-time alerts so they can prepare and they can take precautions. And this wasn't the first time that such alerts were sent. Today was the second phase of the cell broadcast protocols testing. The first time that such alerts were sent was on July 20th. So this testing has been going on since then, and it's going to continue. This alert was sent to just Android phones today and not iOS phones, but even in Android phones, the alerts weren't sent to all mobile phones across the country. So if you have an Android phone, if you didn't receive this alert, that doesn't mean that your phone has not been tested and you won't receive emergency alerts, because this testing is not over yet. It will continue. Such tests will be carried out from time to time in different regions to assess the effectiveness of this emergency warning broadcast. That's what the government has said, and sources in the National Disaster Management Authority say that these tests will be sent to more phones over the next few months, and after the tests are completed, the government plans to roll out this cell broadcast disaster alert system in the next 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Interesting, Priyanshi, that you point out all that. I just have one doubt. I mean, is it possible that these alerts will come to you even if you don't have network? You may not have an answer to this, but just wondering.
That's what we also looked into, Veera, and we can safely say that this doesn't need internet connection. It's that kind of alert that you get in your phone that's similar to a text message. So it doesn't need internet connection, and that's why this service, this cell broadcast system is very important in times of natural disasters. So this alert can reach even people who don't have an internet connection.
So the message you're giving us is that if your Android phone starts blaring in the next few days, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with the phone. It's just an alert system that's coming in. Thank you so much, Priyanshi, for that update. That's all we have time for on this show. The news continues here on NDTV.